Whoops. Okay, so I'll have to explain this one more time. Everyone's coming back anyway. We're creating a method within our class, and that method is going to determine what image should be displayed by the sprite. So, for example, if the node is revealed, then we should show the revealed image. If the node is unrevealed, it should show the unrevealed image. So now instead of having unrevealed image here, what can I put in the place of unrevealed image here? I mean, we know that by the constructor should be unrevealed, but we can do this dynamically instead. What can we do here to get that image? We can call our getImage function that we just created. So instead of having unrevealed image, I can just type getImage because this is going to be returning this dot getImage. And this is going to be returning an image, and it does the same exact thing. And you're like, why do we just do a whole bunch of code that just looks exactly the same? It's setting us up for future success. And now we can do something cool. So let's just pretend like we wanted to show them all revealed. We can change this false to true. We can toggle this. And what's going to happen to our screen now? It's going to show everything is revealed. Hopefully. Whoa, look at that. It's all revealed now. So all we have to do is toggle this value and then call this function, and we can change the image that's being shown. Whoops. But we'll set it back to false. Now we're going to need a bunch more logic here because we're going to need to have the is flag, is bomb. We're going to need to do these kind of nested because if it has a bomb but it's not revealed, then we're not going to show the bomb image, right? We're still going to show the unrevealed image because we don't want them to know what's actually going on there. So we'll be updating this logic as we add more functionality to this. But for now, I want to get our highlighter going. And our highlighter is going to be the way that we're going to be interacting with this. So we'll create our little highlighter, and it's going to move around and then be able to reveal whatever sprite it's on. Okay, so let's create our highlighter. So as we mentioned, it's going to be a red box, but it's going to have transparency in the middle. So we don't want to make the middle white or anything. We want to make it transparent so that it shows what's underneath still. So we'll create a new image. It's going to be called highlight. Same size, 10 by 10. I don't know why it's suddenly zoomed in. What is going on? Oh my gosh, this interaction is terrible here. Why is it going? Okay, whatever. Oh no, how do I just move it? How do I just I don't know. Is it gonna save where I was? Okay, that's fine. We can actually draw it. We can just use this rectangle feature and we can just draw it. Ooh, we don't have to draw each pixel by ourselves. So cool. All right. So highlight is now set. And this, a long time ago, people probably wouldn't know what this indicates here, but I think everyone has seen that this indicates, a transparency. This kind of pixel pattern represents transparency, which means nothing will fill in here. So as long as our highlighter is on top, we'll still see what's underneath it. Good, everyone got their highlight? Okay, so we're gonna make our highlight here. Trying to think if we should do this in a type. What do we need to know about the highlight in order to place it? Yeah, we need a row and a column, and then we can place our highlighter. So why not, let's make a type. Hey, let's flex. Let's do some cool stuff. Let's show what we've learned. Let's make a type. I don't think we need a method for this. I don't think we need a class, which would need a method. We could, because we need a method to actually set the X and Y position based on that. Okay, we're making another class. Woo! Let's make a class for the highlight class. We already did it once, we can do it again. So classes I usually store up at the top. So let's make another class right below our node called highlight. Now, normally, I haven't actually worked with like trying to use different TypeScript files and importing them in. I might check on that outside of class because I think it'll be nicer to have these classes stored in their own files because right now our main.ts is getting kind of bloated. I think we can put it in a separate one and then import it. I'll work on that and make sure that I do that correctly though, but not right now. So class highlight, and then the properties. So the only properties that we need to have here for this is the sprite. Oh, sorry, it's a final. Final, wait, it was final, wasn't it? Oh, private, not final. Whoops, getting my languages mixed up. Private sprite, which is a type of sprite. Private row, which is a number. Private, I'm blaming this keyboard for my lack of typing skills. Number, and then private call, which is also number. Cool. And then here's our constructor. What do we need to pass in? Do we need to pass anything in when we create our sprite or highlight? When we first create it, I don't think we need to pass anything in because it's always going to start in a default position, right? The highlight's only going to be in one place. So I actually don't think we need to pass anything into the constructor because we're by default going to put it on the upper left square or whatever, or in the center, whatever we decide to do. So we actually don't need anything passed into the constructor. So by default, our sprite is going to be new sprites.create assets.image highlight. And then we'll call this one the player, sprite kind.player. Good. Sprite kind player. So we're creating our player sprite, and then our row by default is going to be 0, and our call is going to be 0. So our row is going to start at 0, and our call is going to start at 0. We need a similar thing to what we did here, set position. And actually, it's going to be identical, totally identical. It's going to be completely identical to this one. I can copy this method out verbatim. I don't think there's any difference between those two. I'm trying to think. No, every single character is going to be awesome. Nice. So we're going to take this entire set position and we're going to put it down here into our methods for highlight. I'm just copying the entire thing and pasting it here. And then we're going to call set position like this. And once I create my highlight by just instantiating it, it should place our highlight where it's supposed to be, right in the upper left corner. So let's create our highlight. We only need to create our highlight once, right? We only need to create it one time, and then we're just going to be moving it around. We don't need to delete it and recreate it or anything like that. So let's create our highlight. So say let highlight equal new highlight. And we don't need to pass anything in because everything's constructed. Oh, we got a problem here. What's the problem? Why isn't it showing up now? I did call the function this time, so that's not why. It is. It's underneath it. It's underneath everything. Why is it underneath everything? Because we're doing this first, and then we're generating the nodes after. So if I do it this way, It will show up, but this isn't going to solve our problem completely. Actually, it can, yeah. It's just we have to reset the position each time. Now the highlighter's showing. You see, now the highlighter's right there. Ooh, oh, so cool, right? This is really cool using a class with a sprite, isn't it? I think it's pretty cool. Having the sprite inside the class, that's actually a really cool way of doing this. So we've got our highlight here. Now, if I were to change the default row to 10 and the default call to 5, it should just look at that, placed it right here where it's supposed to be. So now it's at row 10 and call 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have an issue? Okay. Oh, highlight. So just am I right? Wait, what does it spell? It was spelling correctly, right? What is spelled correctly?
Maybe it's spelled.
I think I'm looking at the word light so long it's not. But I think you did spell it right. Did it just break when you added the highlight? So we got an error here. It looks like one of these sprites is not. You know what that is. It doesn't tell you which sprite, but it's one of the sprites is named somewhere. It's the image of the line here. I'm guessing it's highlighted. Oh, GTH instead of GHT. The issue is so yeah, I was like, it looked off. You scroll. I can scroll up. That worked? Okay. Good? Everyone good? Huh?
Very strange issue.
Oh, you still have an issue?
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on?
It seems like the file is like being saved properly or something, and then when we change the code and we run it, it doesn't do anything different. And but then he's using WSL to save to like store his files, but he's running it through Windows
I don't know.
with the.
We're gonna have to look later. I don't think that's a problem I can solve right now. You can keep working with him if you want to. Try to figure it out.
He can't progress.
Yeah, well, just follow the code as best you can because I don't think I can fix it right at the moment. You can try to keep working with them and see if someone else needs help. All right, so we've got our highlight. I'm going to place it back at 0, 0, so it's going to start there. I need to be able to move our highlighter now. So I need to be able to move the highlight. So I want to create another method that actually moves our highlight in here. So let's make a method called move. What do I need to know in order to move it? What do I need to be passed into my move method here? I need to know the direction that it's being moved. Left, right, up, down, right? What's the best way to store our direction? We have 4 possible things. We don't have, Boolean is 2. And enum, yes, yes. We're gonna make an enum for direction now. Just like we did before, enum, direction, and we'll say up, down, left, right. Very cool. So we got our enum for our direction here, up, down, left, right. we're familiar with this. We just did it last week and last class a little bit. Everyone good with direction, enum? Okay. All right, so let's pass that in here now. We'll say direction, which will be a type of direction. Oh, not there, not there, not there, not there, not there. Move, where's move? Oh, I'm in the wrong. Okay, there. Sorry. Direction. All right. Okay. So what if the direction is left? If direction, if lowercase direction equals direction dot left. If it equals left, what are we doing if it equals left? What are we changing if it equals left? Which property would we be changing if it equals left? We'd be changing the row or the column? The column. And what would we be doing to the column? Subtracting 1 from the column, yes. But we might have a problem because if our column is 0, do we want it to go to -1? Do we want it to be off the screen? So we need to stop it from progressing. So we need to check. So we'll say if this dot underscore column is greater than 0, then we can do that. Then we say this underscore column minus minus. That subtracts 1 from it, right? Good. Let's do the other easy one, which will be up. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing out here, paste it, and we're going to do an else if for each of these because there should only be one option. And we'll say else if direction equals up. What happens when we're moving up? What's changing? Our row, right? So row, same thing. If row is greater than 0, then row minus minus. Cool. So if we're trying to move up, if we're trying to move left, we know how to do that. How about if we're trying to move right? Let's just copy this first one out again. Else if direction.right. I want to give you a minute to try to solve this one yourself. What do you need to change for right? So I'll let you work on that for a minute or two, and then we'll come back. So if you want to, you can try to finish right, and you can try to finish down as well, and then I'll go over those. Look at this, we've already got 138 lines of code we are programming today. Doesn't this feel so clean having everything in a class and a method and stuff? It just feels so clean. Oh, if we had these in separate files, it would be cleaner. Yeah. Yeah, it just feels so nice.
It's all compiled.
I don't know if we, that's what I was going to test later, if we can actually have a separate file and import into it. I haven't tried it yet. Do you want to try that while you're hanging out? You can see if you can figure out how to import it in. I know types or JavaScript's got the import statement. It's not import, it's required, and then the name of the file. I don't know if that works in this case though.
Can you scroll down?
Scroll down. Any issues, Alex? All right. Who's got it solved? Who got right and down fixed? Getting there? Okay. So for right, what is the highest value we can have for right? So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. What's the last one here for the columns? The last column. be 15 because we have 16 total, right? Yes. So it's the number, remember that we're setting it based on, that's why I tried to separate it from X and Y and call them row and col so we don't get those mixed up in our head. But yeah, it's the last one would be at 15, the 15th column. So what is that dynamically? Well, we have a rows and columns. This is 16. So I want to check if it's less than 16, but 15, I still don't want to move it over. So it actually has to be less than the columns minus 1. So we're going to change this instead of greater than, we're going to change to less than cols minus 1. And then instead of minus minus, we're going to say plus plus. Good. Does that make sense? So we're checking how many total columns there are, which are 16, reducing it to 15. And then if it's less than that, if it's 14, then we can move it to 15. But if it's 15, we don't want to move it to 16, right? We want it to stop at 15 at the highest. So it's going to check to make sure it's not beyond that boundary. And then we'll do the same thing with down. Just tweak a couple values. It'll be direction.down. This could technically just be else because there's only 4 possible options, but I just like to have this check here. So we change col to this underscore row. We change cols to rows, and then we change this to row plus plus. It feels so much nicer with the enum too, instead of with just a string that says left, right, up, down. Yeah. We're doing clean coding in here. This is pretty.
I think it was
With the required keyword or with import?
I just didn't.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so we've got, now we can move our piece or move our highlight. Let's test it. So right here, when I create my highlight, I'm just gonna say highlight dot move, and I'm gonna say move it direction dot right, and then I'm gonna highlight dot move direction dot down, and then let's move it right again. So I just moved it right down right. It's still there. What happened? Why? I mean, I know my row and my column changed. Why isn't that being reflected on my screen here? Why am I not seeing that? What actually sets the position of a sprite? How do we set the position of a sprite? Yes, we have to call the set position, which is this right here, but we have this function for that. We call move, but move doesn't actually reset the position of the sprite. So what we want to do is whenever we move it, we want to set the position at the end of moving it. We set the column and the row to where we want it, but now we have to actually set the position. So because we have that in a nice function, outside of all of these else statements, after the move is done, now I can call this dot set position like that. And now our highlight actually is moved because we moved it by changing the row or the column, and then we reset the position at the end of moving it. So all I did is just call this dot set position inside of our move function. I can't think of any reason I wouldn't want to reset the position after moving it. I guess the only reason would be is if it doesn't actually move because it's on the edge, but this is okay. We're gonna reset the position every time we move our highlighter. Does that make sense why we're doing that? Because we actually have to place it. Just changing the row and column doesn't do anything. But setting the position does. Setting the position uses the new row and column, uses whatever the current row and column is, which changed. The row or column changed in the move, right? And so now this value, the X position and Y position, updated, and now we're resetting the sprite position based on that. We're doing some pretty complex high-level stuff here. I'm hoping it's kind of, at least if it's making like 60% sense, I think that's pretty good. So hopefully it's making about 60% sense. Yeah. This is definitely going to be a good one to really look over, try to break down, add your own notes to it, add your own comments, and make it make sense to you, because this is going to be extremely helpful for the Lights Out project, which is coming up. Ooh. All right, so we know how to move it. I don't need to have this here anymore. I'm just gonna comment them out just so I can remember how to move our highlighter. What do we want to use to actually move our highlighter when we're playing the game? We want to use our controls, right? We want to use our left, down, up, right. So we're going to set the controller stuff up, which we've done before. Controller dot left dot on event, yes, and then controller button event dot pressed. Oh man, so confusing. Guess what this data type is here? This dot pressed. That's an enum. That's an enum. It's hiding somewhere, but it's an enum under the hood somewhere. So, and then we have this kind of function here. What do we call this function? Do you remember these weird functions that we have? The handler functions, an anonymous function. Yes. I don't know why it doesn't like the arrow, but anyway. Inside of here, we are going to call our move function on the highlighter. So we'll say highlight dot move direction dot left. There we go. Okay. Now we just repeat this process for each direction. So now copy and paste, right dot right, up dot up, down dot down. There we go. See if this worked. Is it going to work on the first try? Let's see. I'm feeling confident. Oh my gosh, it's moving around the screen. Look at that. Oh, so fun. It's not going off the left side. It's not going off the top. It's making it to the right edge and not going, and then it's making it to the bottom and not going. Ooh, so cool. So very cool. Everyone got this going? Looking good? So satisfying when it just works. This version that I'm doing, I made the Minesweeper video guide. This is actually way better. The way I have the methods contained, this is way, way nicer actually. So I think as I go through the term, I start to sharpen up a little bit too. It takes a while to get in. Maybe I was in vacation mode or something, but I also do feel like teaching this, I learn it even better. It's kind of crazy. Even teaching 100 level stuff, I still learn new things or optimize what I know. Everyone good? Anyone having issues? Okay, well, let's try to get our A button functionality going now. What's going to happen when we press our A button? It's going to reveal it. It's going to reveal the node. So it's going to actually reveal that node, whatever node is pressed. So how do we want to handle revealing the node? I think this could also be a method in our highlight class. I think it's going to make sense to do that. Is it? I think so. Do we pass in the nodes though? It's a global, I don't think we need to. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it inside of our highlight class. So inside of our highlight class, we're going to make another new method. So make sure you're in highlight and not in our node. So in our highlight class, we're going to have something called select node. Well, I don't know. I guess select is probably okay. Select node. Okay. And then this is going to actually select the node that we want. It's going to grab whatever node is there. How do we find the node that is the highlighter is currently hovering over? We can use this 2D array that we've created for nodes, and we can grab it based on that. So the I value is the row, the J value is the call, So if we say, you know, current or selected node would equal nodes, and then it's whatever the highlighter's row is and whatever the highlighter's call is. And then we got to use this dot underscore row, this dot underscore call. My battery's running low. Holy cow, I've been coding like crazy today. Okay, I got to try to finish this. Oh, I think it's because it's recording and that takes a lot more battery up. All right, so we got our selected node. Now, what do I need to do to actually reveal this? Well, I need to be able to change a value here inside of our node, which is revealed, but this is a private variable and I don't want to make it public. So we need to create another method inside of our node that's actually going to handle revealing. So now we're going back to our node class and we're going to create another one that's going to be called reveal. Is that a C, USB-C?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll look to work. We can try.
Try it. I think I'll be okay, but well, it lit up. Maybe it's doing it. Okay. Should be fine. Oh, 6%. Okay, it says plugged in. I don't know if it's going to charge fast. But anyway, we'll just do this quickly. Reveal. So when we reveal, we're changing our reveal value. This dot underscore is revealed. We're changing it to true. Now, I want to show you something else first, actually, because when you're making your lights out game, you're not just going to be revealing, you're going to be toggling it on and off. We're going to be flipping that Boolean back and forth. So how can I flip a Boolean so that if it's true, it becomes false, if it's false, it becomes true? Hint might be good for lights out. So if I take a Boolean and it's currently false, then I want to set it to true. If it's currently true, I want to set it to false. Any idea how I might do that? Should I use if true then false, if false then true? No, there's a cooler way to do it than that. What if we set it to not itself? What if we set, so we say if it's true, we set it to not true. If it's false, we set it to not false. And what is not false? Not false is true. Not true is false. So this is a really cool way of toggling a variable, toggling a Boolean. This underscore is revealed equals this dot, or not, which is exclamation point, this dot underscore is revealed. Wow, that's pretty cool, right? And then what do I have to do after this? Well, I've toggled the value, but I have to re-get the image. So I have to reset the image for our, I have to reset the image. And the way I do that is with this underscore sprite dot set image. Yes, set image to get image to whatever that image is there. This dot get image, sorry. It's one of the few languages where you have to put that in front. Okay. So I have my reveal function or my reveal method here. And then I have my select node here. So now we'll call selected node dot reveal. Calling that method here. But now it's still not doing anything because I need to add the A button functionality for this. So I need to call this method on the highlighter when the A button is pressed. So this will be the last thing today. Is everyone okay with what we're doing here? I went really fast. So we got selected node done. We got our reveal done, kind of. We'll have to fix it. But I just wanted to make sure I show you how to toggle a Boolean. And then we're going to add our controller now. Controller dot A dot on event. Controller button event dot pressed. Same stuff as before. Arrow. And then all we're calling is highlight dot select node, like that. So now whenever we press the A button, you'll see, you have to move off of it, but you'll see that it's actually revealing the node. Now I can unreveal it. Ooh, I can unreveal it as well with this and this and this and this. But I don't want to be able to do that, but I can right now. This is where I'm going to have to leave it today. I actually need to get the assignment set up. I'm going to stop the recording so that my battery doesn't die, and then I'm going to get the assignment set up. Everyone remember how to push their code up? Okay, you can reference a previous assignment if you need to. I need to get the assignment published real fast. So I'm going to turn the projector off, turn the recording off, and once you have it submitted, after I publish the assignment, we're good to go today.